welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Roxanne, the Tiny Taster, and today's recipe is Coq Au Vin, or chicken in red wine. This is a delicious recipe. It's one of our favorites. Actually, my whole family loves it. This is typically a French recipe, coq au vin, coq meaning chicken, vin meaning wine. Chicken that's cooked in wine. Usually they use red wine. I would highly recommend that you use a good red wine, one preferably that you like drinking, just so that it tastes better, and not some crappy wine that you bought at a supermarket just because it's a cooking wine. I would not recommend you do that. I recommend you choose a nice wine that you actually like drinking, because when you cook it, the alcohol will evaporate, and then all that grape juice and that flavor, it just becomes intense and it is delicious. So you want a good wine. That's really essentially all there is. You can add some vegetables to it, you'll see in the recipe, or you could switch it up and make it your own. If you don't drink alcohol, I know a lot of people don't, but you still want to make this recipe, just go ahead and use grape juice. It's pretty much the same thing minus the alcohol. Just do the same process, but just switch it with grape juice. I know it won't be a traditional recipe, but that's okay. Nobody cares. It's still going to be delicious. I really hope you enjoy it. As always, the details for the entire recipe will be written down. There's a link to my website. Please check that out for all the measurements and things like that. It is in the description box. I keep getting messages saying, where are the measurements? It's in the description box. Just look down under the video. You will see it. If you like this recipe, or if you like this video, as always, please don't forget to give it a big fat like, share it with all your friends, leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. So without any further ado, let's get cooking. For this recipe, you're going to need chicken. I have used 4 big chicken legs. You could use any cuts that you like. We just like these chicken legs. You could use thigh, breast cut, or a mix. The choice is entirely yours. I would advise against using boneless chicken. This is not a boneless chicken kind of recipe because it does need to cook for a long time. So I would say any chicken on the bone is ideal. And then to this, you will marinate it with some dry thyme. I didn't have thyme, so I used oregano, but thyme is the original recipe, or you could use both. A bay leaf or 2, some salt, some pepper, and then the most crucial and important ingredient in this recipe, the vin or the wine. Vin is just wine in French. And then I like to marinate this in most of the wine. Actually, I think I use the whole bottle in this, and let this sit for at least 2 or 3 hours, just so that it soaks up all that color, and drain it completely. Like, make sure that the chicken is soaked in this wine completely. Nothing should pop out like it is over here. While the chicken is marinating, we'll get started on our vegetables. I start with some onions. I've just halved big onions. You could also use shallots. Traditionally, those are used. But I've just halved or quartered big onions, and I let them crisp up a little bit. Just, kind of get a little bit of a char or a glaze on one side. You don't have to do this, but I like to. I think it adds a little bit more depth of flavor. And then whilst these onions are cooking and turning slightly brown, I will toss in some carrots and lightly cook those as well. I don't need to wait for the carrots to glaze or brown or anything like that, but just make sure that they're cooked slightly. And then once these are all done, you will take it out and let it rest on a plate. In the same pot, you will add in all your mushrooms. Now, I've just halved these. I haven't chopped them up, or if they were small mushrooms, then I've left them whole. If they were big, I've halved or quartered them, just so that there is a nice size, that you get a nice bite, because the mushrooms do tend to shrivel and shrink in size as they cook. So I like to get this a little bit roasted so that it gets some color on the mushroom. Of course, they leach out a lot of water, so I just cook this on a very high flame and then burn off all that water. And then once this is done, again, you will take it out with your carrot and onion mix and set it aside. To the same pot, you will add in some chopped bacon and cook this and crisp this up nicely. Now, a lot of recipes cook all their bacon at one time, but I like to just cook a little bit, just to get a little bit of flavor, because in this sort of oil, that the grease that the bacon leaches out, I'm going to cook the chicken, and I think that it adds more flavor. And then I want some bacon flavor in the rest of the gravy as well. So I just cook this in batches, but you don't have to. You could do it all together, or you could do it like I did it. It doesn't really matter. So cook this for a couple of minutes, and then once it crisps up or it cooks slightly, just take it out and leave all that grease behind for your chicken. So to the pan, add in your chicken. Now my pan, or rather my pot, was not big enough to cook all four at the same time. So I did this in batches. I would say do 2 or 3 at a time, depending on how many fit in your pot. It doesn't matter. And then I cook this on a high flame for about 2 or 3 minutes so that I like a little color on one side. And then I toss it over and I just let it cook for another maybe 5 to 7 minutes. I think I cook this just for about 10 minutes. It's not actually cooking because it will cook throughout when I cook it in the gravy, but this is just to get a little bit of color and start that cooking process. So once this is done, you will take it out and then set it on a plate and then just add the rest of your chicken to the pan and cook that completely again for another, say, 10 minutes. Now, while the chicken is cooking for these 10 minutes, what I like to do is all the wine that was from the marinade, I strain that into another pot because you don't need the bay leaf or any of these other sediments. But I strain it into a pot and then I will cook this on a high flame and reduce this wine down just a little bit so it becomes nice and concentrated and you get a really thick flavor. You can see the scum forming on top. That's probably from the chicken residue that it was marinating in. You just scoop it up from the top and set it aside. Just discard this. You don't really need this bit. But I like to cook this till it cooks down. At least it reduced to maybe half the amount. It just makes for a stronger concentration for the gravy later. Now, once the chicken has cooked in the same pot, I'm going to add in the rest of the bacon bits and then just cook this down for a couple of minutes. And as it's cooking to this, I like to add in some chopped garlic. This is now we're going to build the base for the whole recipe. Cook this for a couple of minutes till the garlic turns fragrant and browns slightly. And now we're going to start with the gravy because all the other elements are cooked and it will just soak in this gravy. So to thicken the gravy, I like to add a little bit of flour. In here, what you see, I've added very little flour. I would recommend that you add a little bit more. And then as you're cooking the flour to make a nice thick roux, you will add in about a cup or so of chicken stock. You could use vegetable stock as well. It doesn't really matter. But just use some chicken stock in here. And then, like I said, because I had added very little flour, you can't see it thickening up, but at this point, it should start to thicken up a little bit more. To this chicken stock mixture, I add in now all the elements. I've added in my cooked chicken. Like I mentioned, my pot is a little bit small, so it seems to be a little bit cramped, but that is okay. Along with the chicken, I add in all the cooked vegetables. That is the onions, the carrots, the mushrooms, and then just mix it all together as best as I can. And then to this, I am going to add in the final reduced red wine because really this whole recipe is about that. So I pour this right back in and then this will cook for, I'm going to say about 20-25 minutes. I just cover it with a lid. Some recipes like to pop this into the oven. So if you have an oven, you could do that as well. But I think it's just fine on the stovetop and just cook it for about 20 minutes or so. It's not traditional, but I do like to add a little bit of chopped coriander just for a pop of green. I mean, some people like to add parsley as well. I think it livens it up. It just gives it a little hint of color because of the wine. This is this deep burgundy red. So you will cook this down and let it bubble. You can see it reducing slightly. Everything looks so juicy and perfect. And like I said, if you have more flour, you can thicken this gravy. Mine was a little bit thin, but we didn't mind. We love this consistency. So that's it really. Your coq au vin is all ready. You could serve this with rice or with mashed potatoes. I like to be a little bit traditional with mashed potatoes. Fair warning, I did not make these mashed. They look superbly creamy. I just ordered them because it was too much to cook everything at the same time. So I've plated this like an individual portion, but you could also just serve the coq au vin in the pot itself. Just dump it on the table and let everyone serve themselves. Or you could do this. I just added the mashed potato, and to that I added 1 chicken leg per person. And then I topped it with that luscious gravy and all the vegetables, and this is just really the perfect filling meal. I hope you've enjoyed this coq au vin recipe, and as always, if you have, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to the channel. There are lots of great recipes and I love sharing them with you. So I hope you enjoy this, and I will see you guys very, very soon.